Greetings, family. Welcome to the Grand Rising Collective. My name is Kyle Dixon, co-host, educator, and entrepreneur for 20 years. Grand Rising Collective's here is to cultivate greatness in ourselves and our community.
And my name is Kayode Bentley, co-host, educator, and entrepreneur for over 20 plus years. My contribution to Grand Rising Collective is to help cultivate that greatness in ourselves and the community through impactful discussions, seminars, and webinars with my co-host, Kyle Dixon.
Greetings, family. Welcome to another episode of the Grand Rising Collective. It is me, partly co-host, one half of the crew, Kyle Dixon here for you. And of course, with my co-host, partner in podcast, Kayode Bentley. Say what up to the people, Kayode.
What's up, people? Glad to be here. We got a banger. We got a nice guest on. We can't wait to learn from him. We can't wait for you to learn from him too. He's doing some great things in the community. So happy to be here, Cal. Thank you so much.
Indeed. So, family, we got a guest here today, Mr. Quinnell Williams in the house, right? Fashion designer, creative designer, political activist as well, communal. So, we got something in store for you, family. Typically, when we bring people on, they they're official. You know that, right? We don't bring anybody on here that's not doing what they think they're doing or not doing what they say they're doing. They're doing the work. And this brother right here is doing the work. So, Quinnell, how you doing, my brother?
Doing very well. Pleasure to be on this platform. I don't think I've done an interview before in a while, but it's been a pleasure to be on here and to see that you guys have created an amazing platform. And yeah, I'm just here to, share my story and also get to know you guys better as well.
Indeed, bro. Indeed. So let people know who you are, man. So we're going to get into it later, fam, but I'm rocking something special today. You know what I'm saying? I'm rocking something special today, So, but we're going to get into that. But Quinnell, man, tell the folks, man, a little bit about you, like your background, like where you're from, how that influenced you to get into fashion, just kind of give people a basis because, people who don't know, like, you may be in New York, you may be other places, but people know some about you.
Yes. So my name is Quinnell Williams. I am 27 years old. I'm a graphic designer. I've been drawing since I was 8 years old. My mother wanted me to read out of books. I decided to just draw out of them. So I would imitate a lot of the drawings in there, whether it was the Rugrats, whether it was whatever I could draw, the back of the pencil, colors, whatever I can kind of draw. I would even sometimes draw out of the newspaper, certain characters that I really liked. Never had really training in art. My mom got me an art book when I was young. So after a while, I didn't really hone the gift really back then. My parents really pushed that. But as I got older, when I went to high school, my guidance counselor asked me what I wanted to do. I said I know I like art and computers because I didn't really know if I wanted to go to college or not. I didn't really have all the resources to be able to afford it, but she wrote my college essay because I gave her an inspirational story about my grandmother and how she impacted me. So I eventually got into SUNY Cobleskill, where I graduated my bachelor's degree, 4 years, graphic design technology. From the first year, I didn't know anything about Adobe, Photoshop. I didn't know anything about any of that. I just knew from the pen how you draw and just imitate. I tried to learn a little bit of the fundamentals from the art book that I had, but from there, I kind of just took my skill set from the paper to the computer. So now learning how to pull images, learning how to manipulate them to create something. I actually created a cereal box, which is my first real project in college as a freshman. Took my first course. I really actually liked it a lot. Oh, wow, this is where I could see myself making a career for myself. I actually like doing this. And just through trial and error, 3 years down the line, my junior year, I saw what a graphic designer made. It was like about $60,000, $70,000 a year, whatnot. I didn't particularly like that because I was thinking, well, that's good, but I want to travel. I want to do so many things. I want to impact the community. So I'm like, you're going to need money for that. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to, while in addition to doing being a designer, graphic designer, I need to have a business. So I didn't know what it was going to be called. I just said I need to do like a business. So one day it came to me, Politically Urban, literally the name. I can't tell you where it came from. I would say a spiritual God. I can say that. Name came to me. Tried to draft the logo in my laboratories, college lab, and first was a script logo. I went through many different variations. I was in my senior year. We were doing a senior project. I decided to do it on this. We had to cultivate, what we wanted, whatever we wanted to create it, we had to make it into a whole project. So I decided to make it Politically Urban, my project. And I was also looking at fashion too. So it's really just me trying to figure it out. Nobody really gave me the inkling to be like, hey, you should get into this. I was like, well, I'm always looking at clothes like Jimmy Jazz, looking stuff online. Because okay, how am I going to be able to show my art into the world? And for my senior thesis, we would have a lot of these things where it would kind of make me a little nervous, but we would have to show our artwork every week, I think, or every couple of weeks in front of the class, and everyone would have to judge it.
Oh, wow.
And that was a lot for me, and my teacher would hone in my logos. He would tell me this would work, this would not work, this would not work, until I finally said, okay, I have these status bars, if you see the logo now. I was drawing it up, I said, I'm gonna flip it, and then I'm going to duplicate it and make it into wings, because I was listening to Kendrick Lamar's Mortal Man. That's where I got the inspiration from the logo. And it stands for, go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing. Like, I'm just listening, like, wow, like the inspiration, like, oh, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah. When Ish hits the fan, is you still a fan? One of my favorite songs, To Pimp a Butterfly, was one of my favorite albums by him. I thought it was
my favorites too.
I thought it was very methodical. I think it's very hard to kind of mesh the worlds together of having good production, but also saying something very deep. Usually you have to kind of pick which audience likes which one. Is very hard. And only the greats have been able to do it, but it's very difficult. And so kind of bringing that up of like the pimp to the butterfly concept. So I said, well, the caterpillar, right? It's a caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. And the concept really drew from me just kind of seeing a lot of hateful stuff on social media between Black men and women, fighting about gender roles, what is our roles, just fighting about different things. I saw a lot of disunity, I felt, and hearing about interracial dating, just hearing about a lot of conversations in Black consciousness that I didn't really particularly like, even in some of my own personal world. So I said, okay, well, I want to create a brand where it shows that unity, that we're working together. So originally it was about bringing Black people together, but originally as I started to hone in on the idea, it really started to niche down to bringing Black men and women together through art. So I just created designs. Power Fist is my first design. Dream of Excellence, which one you're wearing, those are my two first designs. And having those concepts and saying, okay, this is the male design, the female design, and bringing it out with the logo. But the real thing is just to show that we really do care about one another. And I've collaborated with some amazing Black women throughout my life, and just to showcase that there is a brand out there that's not just about fashion and showing the clothes, but we're saying something that we do work together. We do care about one another. We want to work together. We need to, because I believe if the masculine and feminine energy is not together, then there's no way we can really uplift a whole as a community. Just going back into history, anything that we've done laterally to move, whether people agree with it being progress or not, it had to do with the masculine and feminine energy coming together and doing something. Without it, I don't see us really moving. But I can't point to one person. It's really just my political views and my drive that created this brand. I can't tell you that looking at Virgil, I was so inspired. Looking at another Black, Fear of God, I was so inspired. That's not my story. I know some people gravitate towards that, but it really was just my political views and me having the art skill set already to create and wanting to figure out, okay, what art is not really out there? And then me learning on the fly fashion, and like, it's very technical and it's not as easy as TikTok and all that stuff make it out there.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
That was a lot. I'm sorry. That was a lot.
No, that is
Yo!
That's
that was a lot. I know.
Yeah,
I can go. So yeah.
That's fire. No, we appreciate that you can go, and that's what. And that family, we told you. Kayode told you at the beginning. We coming with it. This brother right here told you. we warned you. Like that's all. Let you know. All right, he coming. All right. So my bad. I just want to say that.
Whoa.
Yeah. But go ahead. You got another question, or you want me to keep going?
We got questions.
Okay.
Kayode, did you want to?
Yeah, son, we don't have enough time, man. We ain't got enough time.
We don't have no time. You always say,
yo.
do the
Oh, come on, get. I gotta go to school. I gotta go back to school. I really gotta learn how to tailor this in. Yo, Q, that's awesome. That's awesome. That is awesome. Jesus Christ. All right. Question. Hold on. All right. So I resonate. I gotta pick one thing out of everything. I gotta pick one thing.
Yes. I know it was a lot. I know. Go ahead. Good.
That's fair. I can tell you, I'm a lot too. You're like come from the same cloth. All right. So guidance counselor, same thing. When I went to Cardinal Hayes High School, went to my guidance counselor. One of the things the guidance counselor asked me was, "What do you want to do?" I don't know what I want to do. I'm in high school.
Yeah, I don't know.
Help me, got me. So I shared this in the conversation with Kyle yesterday. I was like, my dad is an architect, so I guess architecture. So they end up having me go to this school, upstate New York, 7 hours, Alpha State College, to take up architecture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to take up architecture, which wasn't space planning or floor designs. It was machine parts. So I was learning how to draw machine parts. It was so out of my league. It wasn't what I wanted to do. Finally, I got the wisdom from my mom. When I called, I was like, Mom, this is what's going on. I'm not, So she said, why don't you get into computers? Because you work with computers growing up or what have you. So I changed my major to computers up there, dealt with the nonsense out there, ended up coming back home. I'm trying to give you a brief summary because this is amazing.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I get it. I appreciate it.
So I ended up coming back home, going to BMCC to take up business management, and that's where my career took off. So I resonate with you, Q, on when you mentioned going to the guidance counselor, and I resonate with you in regards to no one being able to teach you about artistry. You had to pick all this up on your own. I mean, amazing story, brother. Amazing. Inspirational. And like you said, this is my story. I can't, I'm at a loss for words pretty much. I just wanted, Kyle, all I wanted to do was just let Q know I resonate with him, brother.
Indeed.
I want to elaborate more when we have time in regards to the challenges, because I speak from the perspective of inner city youth. So I really want us to elaborate, not in this conversation particularly, but I really want us to really hone in on the confusion inner city youth experience in high school when they're supposed to be going to their guidance counselor, which is supposed to be, I guess, evaluating their skill set in order to help them make more educated, informed decisions on the next biggest decision they're going to make in their life, which is the next step, either college or career. And I think the school systems, and we talked about this yesterday in our conversation, Cal, is failing these young people miserably. And UQ are an example of that exception. You were able to take that information that you have through the support and help of your mom as well, and tailor it. You're 27 years old? 27 years old and already have your man, that's amazing. And got your marketing career in place. I've already seen your Instagram. I studied your Instagram. You already, I'm going too far ahead, but you're doing it. You're doing it.
Instagram family, definitely.
You are doing amazing work, Q, and we're an exception. And I think our job as exceptions to the rule, successful products of the inner city, is to educate and mentor these other young people in mass that weren't given that and didn't have that support. So, man, I resonate with you. God bless you. Let's keep this conversation going, Kyle. I just wanted to give Q a big up, bro.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Definitely, brother. No, because seriously, we need to celebrate brothers like you, and because again, if we typically go with the standard American educational system, sometimes we're at a loss because of that. And you stepped outside that to say, you know what? And that's what the question I want to ask you is, what really led you? I know you say your parents were influenced, but like what about in your upbringing with your parents that led you to kind of political mindset in regard to infusing that with the fashion and creative design? Like what did that come from?
I'm gonna be 100% honest. My what can I say? I think it came from, I would say, my mom. She gave me the good person part, right? me and my dad, we are still figuring out our relationship. He was in my life. I knew who he was. We just didn't have the emotional connection through things like that. I could elaborate on my past later, but my mother gave me the good person part. I just through life experience started to see like, I don't know, as a melanated person, I just kind of feel very different. Like why, when it comes to opportunities, when it comes to things like, why is nobody really pouring into me in that way? But really it was just through influences of watching sometimes, getting those kind of TV inspirations, unfortunately. But the big turn for me was when I read a book called Black Banks and the Racial Wealth Gap. My mom and dad are not very political people. My dad sometimes is he's of the mindset, I don't want to say it's just like do what you have to do to survive. My mom's a similar way. I kind of developed it through like just saying like, okay, I'm reading about certain things in college. Actually, my college professor, Mr. Mooney, I now went to him. He made us read Emmett Till's story. My parents never told me that, right? So actually, I was very naive growing up and very young until I took that course, African American Studies class, the only one I ever took. He made us read the letter of Emmett Till. He made us read about historical literature, slavery. Like there was touches of slavery I knew, but I was just like, learning about the Emmett Till story, learning about our history. I'm like, oh, this is why we're in the, and then I read Black Banks and the Racial Wealth Gap, the book, and it like opened up my mind because I'm like, before I was operating off instinct. I'm not seeing this. Why is there not Black characters in this? Why is this not this? I'm not seeing it. So I'm just like, let me just quit. But then when I started to understand like, oh, social Darwinism is a thing. Oh, Black people were the first stop. Oh, we're behind economically because of systematic reasons. Oh, our schools are underfunded. Oh, we don't have all this. Learning like just what reading can do. And I sometimes kick myself because I wish at a younger age I did listen to my mom in certain regards to read more, because it does kind of fill in those gaps when you're feeling like, well, why am I not getting this? I feel like I'm just as talented. People around me are telling me that I'm talented. People around me telling me that I'm great. Okay, what is the missing pieces? And then from that course, reading more and just kind of operating in my Black consciousness, and also looking at the YouTube universe, learning kind of through that outside of family education. I think that's what honed it in and make me think like, okay. Then also going through some personal experiences, being on college campus, that kind of really stuck the nail in the coffin. Like the Black people went to their bar, the white folks went to their bar. Like I went to high school, Palisade Prep, where Black and Spanish, that was the thing. There was only 3 white kids in our school.
Oh, wow.
I had a roommate, he was white, his name was Nolan. And when his parents met me, it was like, oh, hello. Like, I understood microaggressions. Like, I went to SUNY Cobleskill. SUNY Cobleskill, it's not I don't know, it's one of those things of in America where it's not outward racism. We're not saying, but there's Confederate flags. The Black fraternities up there, we had to have a whole meeting with the principal about, the dean, it was all of us, how we felt, the microaggressions, the Confederate flags flying, people feeling uncomfortable. That also in college, it was a shock to me. I was like, I'm not coming. Oh, I'm thinking, the typical, everyone, we're all the same and civil rights is over, but it's not. When it comes to resources, what we went to basically an agricultural school. So it's also realizing, well, they get certain things because of the funding, and we have to still fight for what we want. Then we had a fashion show in college. Now you're making me reminisce now. Now I'm like, we had to have, it was such a big issue. We had to have we had a fashion show in college. It was such a big issue. It was like, even if you weren't in the smaller Black fraternities up there, because we didn't have the Divine Eyes, we had smaller organizations. It's like we kind of sucked. It's like the Black folks kind of had to have their own cliques of stuff to stick together. And it's like, it was so rightfully so. We didn't trust the police. It was like it was just a thing. I can't really, it's like anything that had to do with this school, we just felt like we were adjacent to it. So we had to create our own stuff, our own fashion this, our own that. We had to make sure to fight for even to be recognized on campus. it was like, well, we want a party, we got to go to this party. Okay, Black folks is going to stay on this. Like, and of course there were the exceptions where even when we tried to raise money for certain things, like, all right, we're going to have our own this, the door, like we had to create so much stuff. And in that realm, I started to realize like, oh shoot, like things are still divided. But as a young person, again, my parents didn't groom me for this. They were like, just like, you're the same as everyone else. Yes, you're a Black person, there's a difference, but they didn't explain it to me in the way that I had to experience it. Like, they didn't explain to me like, okay, yes, there's civil rights. Yes, but they didn't tell me like, okay, when you get on the campus, it's going to be microaggressions. Y'all not going to have the same resources, even though y'all in the same college.
Yeah.
People, I mean, even when I got judged in my senior project, hey, y'all making me reminisce. Like, even seeing people like we don't understand this art. Like, we don't understand what is the point of this. We don't understand. Like, art is different. Like, everything we do is different. And I think it was a wake up call for me, just from experience of like, no, there is no color blindness. And I think that manifested into how I had views of everything, how I had rules of dating, how I had rules of just maneuvering, you know, us having our own stuff. And I think then having arguments back and forth with a white man being like, you know, if Black people owned first slaves, how is slavery about race? Like having arguments and back and forth and having to, you know, talk about facts, and him saying he don't understand how slavery is so a big thing. I know a Black woman, I'm friends with her. Like, what is the issue? Right. Then having to have conversations about it. Right. And it's just like, oh, like, I have to explain. It's like, oh, snap. And it's like, yeah, like he's believing what he's saying. And I'm like, no, there's that. No, it's like, oh, shit. And I'm like, yeah, college. Okay, now y'all making me reminisce. College was a big wake up call for me. It was a huge lesson and a lot of things that I was very naive to. And then, you know, talking to, you know, when it comes to dating, you know, my friend, he dated outside, and seeing from his lens, and then talking with other races of women and who are interested. And it's like, oh yeah, you don't get this. Yeah, we can't do this. Then it's like, it's just, yeah, it's college. Yes. That's what was my teacher at college. And then being like, oh snap, like, yeah, we can't talk about this certain thing because, oh, you're not, okay, we can only talk about this because I don't want to step on, oh, you also had 3 Black kids in your school too. You don't know how this works. Like, the whole colorblind narrative, that's why I ran away from it, because experiencing it in back then, it was 5 years ago when I graduated. I don't know how my college is now, but experiencing it and being like, oh, there's still a difference, no matter how much we try to like make it seem like there is none. Culture is what separates us, but we try to make it seem like, no, it doesn't, but it does. And it's not a bad thing, but I think it's wrong for us to act like everybody can just be and talk about everything, and you're not going to spark passionate disagreements and conversation and have differences, and sometimes not want to come together and stay in your groups and be like, as long as you respect my opinion, it's okay. You don't always have to agree. Anyway, yes, college. There's that. College.
Yes, bro. Yes. Give thanks for that, man. Thank you for that response, brother. We appreciate that. No, seriously, because everything you said is profound. Everything you just said, because it is a realization that you had to go through. This was your right, like this was your societal rite of passage that you went through.
Yes.
And you needed that to harness what you created. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, like, I did. And it was a wake up call. I tell you, I tell people all the time, I said, and people, you know, Black co-workers, they tell me, you're just so pro-Black, you're so like, I can see why you can't date interracially, because you probably hurt the person's feelings. I'm like, damn, okay. It was like, I can see why, like, you just, you're just so profound. I'm like, but then in my mind, I'm like, why are you not though? That's when I question. I'm like, well, hold on now. If we're talking about the problems in this country and how it is an issue and how it still affects us and how it's not going away, well, then why am I considered, the conscious Black person that's just so like, oh, it's like, why am I considered that when it's like we all can see that there's a system. If we're talking about something that's an issue, I don't see why we feel that, you know, these shouldn't be a part of it. That's why I question, well, why don't you think like this? Like, haven't you? I don't know. But anyway, that's my own personal opinion. But college and just experiencing, like really experiencing, like, oh, like, it's like, why does this art matter? Like, and then also realizing that, okay, you when it comes to Black art, yes, you can judge it, but then it's like, okay, I remember I had a person when I went to my senior thesis, he was like, I told him what the brand was about, white guy or whatever. He was like, man, I don't know what this is, you know, I don't know what this is about. You're like, I don't know how to feel about this. You know, I don't really know. Like, I didn't grow up in, you know, New York. I don't know. Like, and he's from, I think he said he was from the mountains or whatever. But point was, it's just like, and then also feeling like, I'm like, everybody's like, well, you need to make your brand diverse for everyone. I was like, anybody can purchase, but any company has a target market, even if they have big budgets. But everybody's like making it seem like, I'm like, this is for us. No, you can't sell your product to one people. Even my own people was like, you can't do that. That's not in business. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, and then it's funny because a guy who was, I think, Jewish, whatever, I was in this incubator for like just businesses. And then that's another story. He was like, no, there are businesses that, and it's funny because if you guys go on the clothing brand, Actively Black, in his interview with Earn Your Leisure, he talks about that. And I said, I'm not crazy. Listen to him. And he's the one that got millions. Yeah. And even he was like, when he was selling his brand and they thought he was selling wristbands and they thought a Black man was behind it, he had to hide his identity. And once they found out, they didn't want to patron the business. And I was like, all right, well, you hear it from the person that made money, right? Maybe that will resonate more, right? Don't talk to me over here. Listen to the person that made the money, and they've also had the same experience. And he even told me, he was like, yeah, he was like, you know, I don't understand. He was like, there's certain things you're gonna have to it's okay to draw the line, because he's like, I know certain businesses where it's just for this demographic of people and they look a certain way, a certain race. And that's it. There are certain businesses that are run that way. Yes. Not everybody's business is trying to sell to everybody with similar interests. Right. There are some businesses that are like, this is the niche market. That's it. The market is big enough where they're getting enough compensation, and that's it. So you have to decide what realm you want to be. My mentor was like, okay, Q, once you start talking all this political stuff, you want to get into fashion. I was like, look, she was like, I'm with you. But you're going to have to pick a lane. Also realizing that you can't be neutral, because I was also very neutral as a person. But I had to realize, no, you got to pick a side. There's a lot of shit. I'm overtaking the interview. I don't want to.
No.
That's what this is.
I got to let y'all run through the questions.
Family, hope you're listening to this young brother. This is up and coming. I told you, we're not playing around, and this young brother is on it. And everything you said, Q, I listened to that interview on Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to Earn Your Leisure. Yes. I listened to that interview with Actively Black. It's real, and you had to be validated by that brother. He had to go through his experience so he could validate himself. And then you seen an interview validated your experience. You're like, yo, a lot of Black folk have said, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm thinking these ideas, and this is for my people and for my community and people, the niche market. And people are telling me I gotta go diverse. Are they telling the other non-Black folks? Are they telling them that?
Yeah.
That they're crazy for? Oh no, you can't just service your own ethnicity or demographic in the ethnicity. You got to go diverse. Are y'all telling other folks that? Because I don't think so. And then when we say that, it's like, well, no, you can't do that. And then we start believing you can. Yeah. That's the crazy part, right? That's the part that lets me know that unfortunately they have been miseducated and indoctrinated with you're not enough. Yeah. Right. He was a Black person creating art, creating anything. That's not enough. You got to get everybody. Do I? Or is that just because what you've been fed and you believe that because you think that me being Black and me having a Black brand and me being behind a brand because I'm Black is not enough and won't sell in the market of our white counterparts? Let's keep it real. Let's keep it all the way funky.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Yeah. So This is what I'm talking about with Girl Rise Collective. We don't hate on anybody. Like you said, there's different. Hey, if you want to be a Caucasian white person, sell the white brand, that's fine. Do that. If you want to be a Latina, Asian, if you want to sell the brand, that's okay. That's your demographic. Like you said, Q, earlier, it's not about hating the other person. It's just saying, hey, we're different. I respect your differences, but that's not my thing.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. Like, and yo, brother, you on it.
Yeah.
No, you came to the right place. You came to the right place because you are on it. We're here to celebrate you. We're here to promote you because you have what it takes to make it in this industry because you have knowledge of self. You know who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's real. And a family who's listening will chime in. These are the things that brothers and sisters have to go through to do their thing. And he's positive. Yeah. He's positive. If he was selling drugs and liquor, they'd be like, oh, well, yeah, you know, go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and I see even in our content today, one person even told me, my driver, the driver at my job, he was saying like, yeah, Q, if you really want to get into entertainment, he was just like, or like shows. I said, eventually at one point, I would like to dibble dabble into seeing what I could do in film. And he was just like, well, yeah, you should really touch on selling drugs. Like drugs are really big. And I was just like, I don't want to talk about that. I want to. I mean, I get it. 50 Cent, like I said, I've heard Black people come to me and be like, 50 Cent is our Steven Spielberg. How could you not see what he's doing? I'm like, I don't subscribe to that stuff. I respect that he found his lane, you know what I'm saying, with Power, and he's branching off to other shows, and now he did the other, I think the other show with the two brothers, with Meech and them. Yeah, I get it. He found his demographic, he found his audience, and I get it, his background, whatever. I'm trying to get into I would call it solution-based content. Like, I miss movies, if I can really point to one. I don't know if you guys watch, if you guys saw the newest one, I could point to, They Clone Tyrone. I don't know if you've seen it. I kind of, and it's funny because at first my girl, yes, she's a Black woman. I don't just talk this stuff, right? So my girl was like, I don't get it. Why we gotta be pimps, hoes, and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, like, look at it. Like, I need you to really watch this film. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know how they got it funded. Okay, Netflix, I think it was a Black man who wrote it. And I think he had a counterpart because I think that's how they got it to Netflix. But I was like, oh, this is really good. I was like, when I first looked at it, I was like, okay, I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to understand. And then I was like, oh, wow. Like, this is, and I'm thinking in my head, like, this is kind of an exception. And it's very hard. Like, I haven't seen Black cinema like that in a while. Like, to say that I can pull from it, like entertainment, yes, we've done that. Like comedy, that's mainly what I see us in. Comedies, I see us in stuff that's really funny, or something that's very dramatized, something that's doing with struggle, drugs. Those I've seen us in many forms. But something that's trying to give a political or social message, and it has some funny elements, like it's blended, but the message, there's a real big message in it. Those are very rare that I've seen. And then for it to be on Netflix, I was like, usually I would think this would be on like a Quinnell TV or something very that we've created, or something like a Black-owned streaming platform. Yeah, I was like, oh, wow.
Definitely.
I was like, wow. Okay. Whoever, I was like, okay. And I can respect that. And I told my girl, like, this is probably good Black cinema that I haven't seen in a while. Like, this is like good. Like, I can say, and she was like, well, maybe I got to watch it again. I was like, yeah, you should, because I was like, I get it on face value. And that's probably how they had to sell it to Netflix. That's another thing. Like, we've kind of had it's like, we can't be outwardly political. No, we got to sell it in a package that's like underlining, and you got to read between the lines, like with Get Out, right? You got to read between the lines. Like, you can't just say, hey, no, you got to make it where it's like, oh, other groups can digest it, but then it's in code. Like, it's in a Black language that only we can understand and speak, where, oh, we get it, but everyone else is like, oh, this is just entertainment. It's weird that we have to, in order to even get diverse, like, we have to do that. Like, we have to mask and talking code
Mm-hmm.
in order to get. It's kind of like, yeah, that's what they even had to do back in those times. You gotta talk in code to really get to where you gotta go. It's crazy.
Man,
Anyway.
no, man, they clone Tyrone is on my list, my brother. Yeah, because it's black cinema in regard to the historical context of it.
Yeah.
We have not had a lot of sci-fi, and like
Yes,
Tyrone kind of meshed it together. And I've heard all great reviews. I'm late on it, family, so my bad, but I'm gonna watch it. And also the one that just came out, the sister who works at the corporate job, and it's kind of like a horror mystery drama type of film.
Oh, the other black girl.
Yeah, the other black.
Yes, me and my girl watching that shit last night. It's actually pretty. It's to me. I think it's a solid. I think you'll like it.
Okay.
It touches on different things, and I think it gives a realism to it. And I was just like, and it's actually based off a book. I didn't know it was actually a book.
Okay, I didn't know.
So it's like, yeah, I was just like, okay. So yeah, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, we're not in certain genres. It's either drama, comedy. I think, yeah, drama and comedy. That's mainly where I see it in.
Yeah.
But sci-fi, getting into tech, like Afro tech or anything technological outside of those realms is very difficult or far in between to find that I've seen. So I could chalk it up. But yeah.
Yeah. Woo, man, woo. Yeah. No, this is what it is. This is great, man. This is beautiful because, like I say, from your experiences, you being younger than us, but still having that experience, that worthwhile experience, and recognizing in the moment, that's great, man. You're able to capitalize off that. And I want to ask the Kayode, did you have a question to ask?
No, brother, go, man. I'm learning, man.
Quinnell, I want to ask you this, man, because I'm always been interested in fashion. I grew up in a hip hop generation. You know, I'm in my 40s, early 40s. So for us, you know, like seeing the Sean Johns, even the joints like Nelly Vocal and Busta Rhymes came out with Bushi, I think it was. And then you had Naughty by Nature. Naughty by Nature was kicked it off early. And then you had Dapper Dan, of course, Dapper Dan in Harlem. Definitely, y'all should read his book. If you haven't read his book, Q, yet, you should definitely read it. It'll definitely be inspirational to you. The brother is, you should definitely go see him too. You should go see him as well in Harlem. He's very approachable. But yeah, the Dapper Dan book. But like, what are some of the, I guess, challenges as far as making your product? Because the question I'm getting at is, when I was coming up, it was harder to get access to shirts and design and print. Versus your generation now, you all have like Shopify and other things that it seems like an easier access. But could you share that with us? Is it an easier access? Do you feel like you still have some challenges as far as printing, materials, budget, etc.?
Okay, I'm going to give y'all the real on whoever's doing it. Brother, you are correct. It was a lot harder back then, even with me learning my own history, like learning about foodborne learning. Like I've had to do my own homework and learning back. If you're gonna talk about it from a getting in and access and even getting your foot in the door, yes, it's a lot easier now to get your foot in the door and put the product out there. But when it comes to the tangible, it's kind of like with music, it's easier to put your thing on the Spotify, but that doesn't mean everyone knows your name yet. And I think that is what I would want to embark on a generation. It's easier to put it on social media. That does not mean people know who you are. And I'm saying that because we think the game is shifted. Internet, we got it all easy access. Now, yes, there was a time where if you wasn't on TV or you didn't have a lot of money, you didn't get signed by the people that had the money, yes. But now the game has changed. Social media has taken over what the TV ad people and whatever now. Because now it's like, oh yeah, you can go on social media, but the big business owners are saying, oh, we're willing to pay you the same amount of money we're going to pay these TV companies for this audience that you have on social media. Because really, social media, they want your data because that's the real important thing.
Great point.
They're saying, so, and it's funny, a black man who he broke this down. He has actually a black-owned social media. I forgot what it's called, but he's actually trying to build his own. He was saying how there's big companies that are willing to pay. We're going to pay you this amount of money for this amount of people that's on this platform, and that's just it. And that's competing with the TV deal. So they're like, well, just because you're a free user, you're putting it on there, but they're not going to give you the same traction as the person that's willing to pay $10,000, sometimes even $100,000, $20,000 to get it out there. So the game is not putting it out, creating it, it's being seen.
Mm.
That's the game. You can have it. There's a bunch of people that's out there, and then you got to know which lane you're getting into. There's a lot of intricate things in fashion that everyone's just like, even I got to break this down to my girl, right? She's just like, I don't understand why this. I'm like, okay, there's lanes to this, like just in anything, right? There's merch, right? And there's fashion. There's streetwear, and then there's couture. Like you see the levels. So if you're doing merchandise means you're an influencer, you have an audience, and you're trying to create a stream of income, and you want to put your own ideas of designs and you want to sell it. That's mainly what the print on demand model is for. And it's quick and people can deal with it. It's just that they take a lot of more percentage out of the sale, but it helps you with convenience. So it's a trade-off. That's merchandise. You can do that. Then there's fashion. Fashion is usually cut and sew. Usually it's people that can, you cut fabric, you go down to the garment district, you get the fabric, you have to put the pattern out there, then you take the fabric, whatever else materials you need, and you make it either yourself, you get a sewing machine, and you make it from scratch. And really your cost is really not, it's only, what the materials you use. Your labor cost is based on subjective of how long you think this took and your own value and your expertise. And it's that, and then there's streetwear. Streetwear is a blend of the both. Streetwear is what I'm in. So I get blanks. I have, connects with wholesale companies where you can sign up. You have to have your EIN for some you don't. Some you can go on SNS Activewear. You can go on Alpha Broder. Well, no, I think Alpha Broder might have to have it, but I know there's certain websites now that are third parties where you can go get Gildan shirts. You can go get shirts. The access is easier, $1 or $2 shirts. However, again, it's like everything. If you want to get into companies that I have access to, like Ash Color, you want to get into other high quality stuff, the heavy ounce stuff, you need your EIN. But if you just want to print some Gildan shirts, go down to your local screen printer, do a one color print, you can do that without having the documentation. But if you want to get into the high end streetwear stuff where, you see big brands using blanks, then you need your EIN. Then when it comes to that's just getting the material, right? Hopefully I'm I know it's a lot of information. Hopefully
let's go. Come on.
Yeah. So now it's design. I have a cheat code, right? I'm a graphic designer, right? I know how it works, right? People who are new, you may not be a designer. You're just thinking, I could just go on Instagram, DM somebody, they created whatever. That's it. That's if that's what they tell you, but that's not how this works, right? First, right, you got to first come up with a concept, because the designer is just there to create, and that's it. They're not there to get the idea for you. That's where some people get it messed up. They think you're supposed to create the idea for them, and they're just going to pay you. No, you come to the table, right, with your IP, whether it's a sketch, it doesn't have to be perfect. You tell them what you want, or at worst case scenario, you come with image references that you've already seen or that you want to blend together. And their job is to then create it, give you, the revisions, and that's how you get the design. And that could take a while, right? That could take a while. Me, I have the cheat code because I know how to create my own designs. I've gone to the school. I've done the whatever. So I know how to do that. And then just creating the design is not where you stop. Printing it is very different. Now you have to learn how many colors does my design have? Because only certain designs can get printed certain ways. Direct to garment, direct to film, they have transfers, which makes it easier for full color. But before then, in the older days, full color was a no-no because of how costly it was, because most people were doing screen print.
Right. Yep.
So that's why you see a lot of clothing brands, if you really look at them, they're not doing the shade. They're not doing very intricate artistic designs. If you see what's on the market, they're doing very simplistic, vectorized, which is just another term for saying it's more simplistic with the lines. It's not as much shading in it. It's not as much color, 2-3 color designs, because that's cost-effective way to get the design out there. To do full color can cost you. So you have to know that, right? But that's really through trial and error. Then you have to figure out direct to garment. That's for, 25 plus and up. Screen print, that's for when people do the thousands of prints. So you also got to know, okay, how much do I really want to sell? How big do I really want this to be? And what model do I want? It's a lot of parts, right? I tell people, like, I've gone through the trial and error. I've had to do this with, I just got my mentor who's been in this, and she's just helped me out a couple months ago. But I've had to do this years of trial and error, spending money, losing money, going through people, all type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
your image went sideways for a minute. It went sideways.
Hold on. Okay, there we go. So I think what I would tell you is, yes, get into it, but I would say there's a lot of parts. So you got to figure out first of all what lane you want to get. Then we're not even talking about financing and budget, right? So then you got to think, okay, I got the design, right? And then I got to have the master file, because even if I get somebody to create this for me, you want them to have the Adobe file and the Illustrator file. You don't want to give them the it's kind of like it's tiers. The master file is the best file because the printer is different for everyone. You can get the same design printed and it comes out different with every printer because everybody may not be using the same machine. So then you're like, why is my shit not coming out like I saw on Instagram when it came all bright and beautiful? And well, what machine are they using? What printing settings is it on? And is the image vectorized and not optimized for that print? You have to know all that. Me, I'm just like, why is this different? Then you got to know, am I going to do it vinyl? Am I going to do a screen print? Am I going to, because everything has a feel. Then you're talking about feel, right? Yeah. How you want it to feel? Are you okay with the transfer feeling like it's on top? Do you want the direct to garment where the ink is infused in it? So then it's like, you don't feel nothing. And then it's color, because the white, you don't feel anything on certain prints, but on a darker color, they have to put an underbase on it. So you're going to feel a little bit of it anyway. So it's none of those things. Then it's, do you want cotton? You want polyester? Because it's going to feel different based on how much polyester is in it, because DTG is better for 100% cotton. You can kind of get away with it with screen print depending on which ink you use. Are you doing water-based? Are you doing plaster oil? Yo, I'm telling you, I get it. Internet is selling non-craftsmanship, and I get it.